Hey everyone, I'm back. So for those of you who watch my videos, you will know that I spent all of last month overseas with my husband. We visited Italy, Switzerland, and then Paris in France. For those of you who follow me on Instagram, you were a part of this holiday and I thank you very much for joining me on it. There's so much that I want to talk about in these upcoming months because as promised I did definitely do quite a bit of shopping, and the bag I've chosen to focus on today is the gorgeous Gucci Blooms print Dionysus shoulder bag. I have been crushing on this bag so much since it debuted in fall 2015. That's autumn for the non-American viewers here. And so that's been 2 years. So I've been very patient and slowly saving up for this gorgeous bag. My viewers know that I like to keep my videos nice and structured, so today I want to cover 6 main topics. Background of the Gucci brand, the main design features, different sizes and variations available, Gucci's reputation, my purchase story, and finally my verdict. When I was preparing for this video, I unintentionally kept making comparisons between my Gucci and my Chanel. Even though this is not meant to be a formal review of one against the other, I will draw some comparisons because I do find that they're slightly similar in size, they have some slightly similar features, and I tend to choose this sort of bag for similar occasions or similar outfits in my life. As always, the last thing I have to do before I jump into everything is really thank my viewers. Thank you so much for choosing to spend your day with me. Thank you for your kindness and your support. I'm really glad that I get to meet people like you in this vast online community. So let's get started. Gucci is an Italian brand that this year is 96 years old. It is owned by a French conglomerate which also owns Yves Saint Laurent, Bottega Veneta, Balenciaga, McQueen, so it's all one family. Gucci is Italy's #1 selling luxury brand. Gucci is the world's second largest luxury brand, second only to Louis Vuitton, and last year reported $4.3 billion in revenue. Gucci is named after its founder, Guccio Gucci, who was an immigrant working in the lavish hotels of Paris and London, where he was impressed with the luxurious luggage he saw. When he returned to his home city of Florence in Italy, which is renowned for high quality materials and skilled artisans, he decided to try and marry the elegance of British aristocracy with Italian craftsmanship. He opened his own fine leather luggage store, and so from the very beginning, Gucci has been connected to the world of travel and adventure. An example of this is passion for horse riding, which was popular among European aristocracy. Gucci references this by adding snaffle bits to their loafers in the 1960s, and of course this is an iconic Gucci look. Snaffle bits also feature in their jewelry, watches and bags. Another iconic look is their green, red, green stripe, which came about in the 1950s and was inspired by horse saddle straps with contrasting colors. Another major influence on Gucci and their reputation for innovation was wartime restrictions. The iconic embossed cotton canvas print was in response to the shortage of leather, although the double G was added at a later date. Gucci pioneered bamboo, which was a readily available material, and artisans found that they could make it bend after they heated it. Gucci also features pigskin as another leather substitute, and this is still used in their bags today. Today, we all know Gucci's logo as a double G, but this actually only came about in the 1960s after the death of its founder, Guccio Gucci. Originally, Gucci's logo was its house crest. We all know that the Hermes Kelly bag is named after Grace Kelly, but did you know that Gucci's Flora patterned scarf was also custom made for her as well? Gucci's Jackie bag was named after First Lady Jackie Kennedy in 1961 as it was her go-to bag, and most recently in 2009 it was relaunched as the new Jackie. With his 3 sons, Guccio Gucci expanded across America and Europe in the 1960s. Gucci prospered further in the 1970s as it opened stores in Asia, but the 80s almost put the brand at bankruptcy. So to sum up the story for you, a grandson took over the business from his uncle. His decisions upset distributors and shareholders and resulted in heavy losses that led almost to bankruptcy. In the end, the family-owned business had to be sold, and the grandson was killed by a hitman hired by his ex-wife. So it's total Italian drama. In order to save Gucci, new ownership decided to move the brand from Milan back to Florence to acknowledge its roots in craftsmanship, and Tom Ford was appointed the new creative director in the late 1990s. He transformed Gucci's traditional image into one that's bold and sexy. And prior to this, Gucci had never been sexy. So you can see this in their very provocative advertising, such as this lady's pubic hair being shaved into a G, and this was banned worldwide. In more recent years, Gucci's new creative directors have reinterpreted Gucci's heritage and sought to fuse past with present, history with modernity. So I think that's what makes Gucci so exciting right now. If you look at the Gucci Dionysus, it feels like classic luxury with a vintage twist, and yet it's youthful, fresh, and fun. In their recent collections, you would have seen a lot of animal and plant motifs such as flowers, foxes, snakes, bees. These were all drawn from Gucci's archives, and each of them carry their own symbolism. So if you're interested, check out this article. Unfortunately, this section is getting a little bit too long. So I hope I made it clear from the beginning that Gucci's philosophy is not only about fashion, but also travel and lifestyle. So as a result, over the years, Gucci has had many collaborations, whether it be thermos, dishes, board games, to even cars. No matter what it is, Gucci shows that it's part of your vision for an indulgent lifestyle. As an exciting it bag, there is so much to talk about. The most traditional element here is of course the iconic cotton print canvas with the GG. This fabric is also coated with polyurethane to improve scratch resistance and water resistance for durability. The antique rose cow suede feels really luxurious and offers a great visual and textural contrast to the canvas. Apparently cow suede is also robust, and I'll watch this over time. You'll notice that where a surface is suede, its opposite side is canvas and vice versa. So as a result, because you have the beautiful suede on the side and bottom profile, when you open the bag, canvas lines the side and bottom. Again, when you open the zip compartment, which is suede on the outside, canvas is on the inside. The front flap, which features suede as the main look of the bag, is canvas below when you lift it up. I find this design really intriguing and playful. Also, it's quite pure as they really showcase the two planes to the fabric. As many of you would know, this is the Blooms print Dionysus, which varies from the Dionysus Supreme through the addition of the printed flowers. I really like this. I think it adds a youthful, fun, and fresh twist to the bag. All hardware is ironwork in antique silver. I'll have to keep an eye on this as I continue to use the bag, but I do hope that ironwork is durable against micro scratches and tarnishing, which I have seen on my Chanel gold tone and 24 karat gold hardware, where the underlying material is brass. So instead of the gold tone double G hardware closure on the Marmont bag series, here we have the spur with the tiger heads on both ends, referencing the Greek god Dionysus, who was said to have crossed the river Tigris on a tiger sent to him by Zeus. Apparently, this design came from the company's 1970s archives, so it shows how Gucci is able to respect their rich tradition without being traditional. If you run your fingers along the spur, you can really appreciate the ornate details and textures. Like Chanel, the chain strap can be worn two ways, although the Gucci length is a bit shorter, so the double chain can really only fit in your hand. The spur works as a pin closure. On one side is a little tab concealed from sight, so you need to feel for it. Press it to release the pin and open your bag. It's pretty easy to align and close, although usually I might tap it in the wrong spot before I find the hole. So I am going to keep an eye on this to see if scratches do form over time on the hardware. It locks securely with no risk of accidentally popping open. In terms of organization, you have a total of 4 compartments, 2 open, 1 zipped, and the last one is concealed. I love how at a first glance, this front suede flap on both sides looks like it's purely decorative, when actually there's a very generously sized pocket underneath. To me personally, I find that Gucci's private pocket is sort of like an in-between of what Chanel does in its classic flap. So as you know, they have their front slot, which is hidden underneath the second flap, but also Chanel sort of has this hidden zip compartment on the underside, although I find this very difficult and bizarre to use because it's upside down. So from that perspective, I do find Gucci's pocket a lot more ergonomic to use, and it's also quite a bit larger, so you can fit quite a bit in here. You can grab the Dionysus look in 4 different sizes. Mini chain, which is essentially their wallet on chain, mini, small, which is the size I have here, and then medium. Here are the dimensions for your comparison. The chain on the mini chain and mini are both long enough to be worn crossbody. As a double strap, it also works comfortably on your shoulder, although I believe the mini chain would look a little bit too small as a shoulder bag. I found that the extra size and weight of the medium meant that it didn't balance as well on my shoulder. It sort of wanted to slip off. So from that perspective, I feel that the medium would rely more on hand carrying, which is something I personally don't enjoy that much. If you want more storage space, the medium Supreme features a back pocket in suede leather. This is not available on the Bloom design. There are many design variations of the Dionysus, and they do change every season. So for example, a year ago or so, you could get the Blooms in a blue print. Currently, this is only available in the mini chain size. There are many embellishments and embroidery which really reveal the rock and roll side of Gucci. If you want to make a unique statement, that's probably the bag for you. For me personally, I find it a little bit too loud and maybe restricts what I can coordinate with my outfits. I love the fresh femininity that Blooms injects into the bag, but the older, more classic, more sophisticated look is the Supreme paired with neutral suede tones. There's also the all leather options or the antique gold toned spur closure highlight. The moment Dionysus launched in September 2015, it was declared an it bag, and I believe it still holds much of its status today. Since it's only been 2 years, we can't say for sure that it's earned a place among the classics like the Chanel double flat, but I do think that this is very possible with the Dionysus. The ornate spur closure is really unique. There's no other luxury bag with this feature. The GG canvas is so iconic. The suede is super luxurious. The silhouette is timeless. If you avoid their embroidered options, this bag overall is a neutral tone which can complement any day outfit, maybe even nighttime if you opt for a smaller size. Price point is another really important factor for ensuring a bag is eternally on everyone's wish list, and I feel like the Dionysus is well priced for the luxury market. It's high enough to feel exclusive, but it's also low enough so that you can save up for it and eventually afford it. You're not forever playing catch up like you do with Chanel because there's artificial inflation. If we step away from the Dionysus and look at Gucci in general, it has been cemented in popular culture. Gucci loafers are a permanent collection at the in New York. Kanye West and Soulja Boy and others mention Gucci in their songs, and everywhere I go I see people wearing Gucci loafers and Gucci belts, or at least knockoffs. There's an excellent quote from the creative director where she states that Gucci has 2 souls. One is aristocratic and elegant, and the other one is rock and roll. I definitely feel that layered complexity with the Dionysus, that it's really classic and yet it's youthful. Finally, of course, quality is really important because we talk so much about wanting a bag that's timeless in fashion, but what's the point of that if it's not timeless in terms of surviving your everyday use? Online, I've seen a lot of complaints about the quality of Gucci's accessories, but I haven't been able to find anything negative about their bags. So for me personally, I feel like they probably have not implemented the cost-cutting measures that other brands like Chanel and LV have been known to do, where their bags made today are just not up to scratch for what you're paying. I will keep an eye on this, but at least for now, I've scrutinized every single detail on this bag and I've really held it close, and I find it excellently crafted. Although I thought I would do all my shopping in Paris, which was my final destination, I ultimately decided to buy this bag halfway through my holiday in Florence. And part of it was because of the beautiful symbolism of buying Gucci from Gucci's home city. But secondly, Italy's tax rate is a little bit higher than France. I was dressed like a terrible tourist, so I was in my sports shoes with my backpack. I was really sweaty because I had rushed to the store and I had to rush out again for my train. I'm glad to say their customer service was excellent and they did not judge me on the way I looked. I was so excited and in such a rush that I only realized afterwards I didn't receive a box. And later when I shopped in Paris, this was the same situation again when I bought Louis Vuitton. So I feel that they probably just think tourists are going to throw the boxes anyway, so they tend not to give it to you. So in the end, when I got back to Sydney, I explained my situation and they gave me a new box, a new gift bag without even checking my receipt. So if you're in a similar situation where you're shopping while you're traveling and you want to minimize your luggage, it looks like you can probably get your packaging in your home city without much fuss. The Italian price for this bag was 1,790 euros. Although the tax rate was 22%, I was only able to claim back 12.5%. This reduced tax rate was the same when I shopped in London last year and also when we shopped in Paris a few weeks ago. So my understanding of this is that it's either because these luxury goods fall under a separate category where you're entitled only to a lower tax rate, or they charge you a commission in order to organize your tax back, one or the other. In the end, I bought this bag converted back to my currency for 2,373, which is still a pretty good saving compared to me buying it direct in Sydney for 2,800. In the last 2 years, I've been watching this bag on the pre-loved market in the hope that I could buy it mid-condition. Unfortunately, because it's a new bag, and this is generally the case with all new bags, there's not many pre-loved options available, and as a result there's not much competition pushing the price lower, so it really wasn't competitive at all, and therefore I chose to buy it overseas. I know it's early days, but I've loved this bag for 2 years before I bought it, and I think I'm loving it more because up close I can really appreciate the quality, the details and the craftsmanship. With more time, I can keep an eye on the durability of the ironwork hardware and also styling flexibility. Other people have said this and it's also my hunch. I don't really see this bag working with evening outfits. It's just a bit too cheerful and a bit too relaxed. Later on, I'll do a dedicated video showing you what I can fit into this bag, but it does seem to be a little bit too large for evening use. One experience I find interesting is that this bag not only has that accordion aesthetic, but it also feels like an accordion. Without your pin closure locking all your layers together, your bag, when you open it, will really stretch open and lean forward. And this does mean that on the go, it's easier for you to get things out of it because of that extra room for access, but it just feels very unbalanced, and because of that, maybe it's because it's early days, but I don't find it comfortable. So when I feel the bag shifting its weight, I feel the need straight away to close it and seal it so it's stable again. My Balenciaga is another accordion style look bag, but with this bag I don't have that imbalance and the shifting of the weight. If I just leave the flap open, as you can see, it's not sort of doing that. And again, because I've been making comparisons to Chanel incidentally throughout this video, if you leave the flap open on this bag, there's no issue of it shifting its weight and being unbalanced. So with this bag, a couple of times I've just accidentally left it open because I can't feel the difference. While with the Gucci, you can really feel it being warped and a bit weird. Like all luxury bags, it's not light. So if you're someone who has never carried a luxury bag before, it basically means that when it's empty, it feels like a non-branded bag that's full. You also have to be someone who's comfortable carrying this bag in your hand or off your elbow or off your shoulder quite close. If you're someone who definitely prefers crossbody or lower off your shoulder, then you should consider downsizing to the mini where that's possible. One element that made me do a double take was the printed flowers. The lighter colors are not fully opaque, so some of the printed canvas shows through. I didn't notice this at all when I purchased the bag, but several weeks later when I was at home in Sydney and I really scrutinized it, I noticed that and I thought my bag had gotten dirty. So let me know if it's just me, but personally I don't really like this. I really like the chain straps. First of all, it's all ironwork. And so having no leather will probably minimize long-term maintenance and durability issues, because in Chanel I've seen that the leather starts to crack long before the brass has any issues. The strap is bold and chunky, which is a new look for my collection. So if you like this look, which previously you would get on the Chanel boy bag, this is a bag at a more affordable price point. Finally, I know I've made a lot of comparisons tonight between the two bags where I always end up complimenting Gucci, and I think that's just because ultimately it's sort of a practical, straightforward bag, while with Chanel I have found it a bit fussy, a bit impractical to use, and that has bothered me over time. I've been good at not uploading a ridiculously long video for a while, but I think today I've sort of reset that. I know it's early days, but I just wanted to share with you my excitement over the Gucci brand, the beautiful details in the Dionysus bag, and also the many options available if you are looking at this range yourself. I hope you found it interesting and useful, and I really look forward to your feedback. So, for those of you who follow me on Instagram, you would have known that on my last day in Paris, on my 4th attempt, I managed to score myself a Birkin. So my next video will be all about this amazing bag. So see you next month. Take care.